Okay, everybody. It's been a little while, but welcome back. Uh, had some requests lately about, how do I know where to get started? I want to model a part, and that's a tough question to answer. Um, a lot of that just comes with practice, but you've got to look at the basic shape. Of course, take a moment, look at it, think about what features you could break it down into. Um, do you need extrudes? Do you need revolves? Is there anything that looks like a sweep? Is there anything that's a blended profiles that you would need a loft? Um, are you going to put screws in the holes? If so, you'll probably want to use Hole Wizard and patterns for a pattern of holes. So I just did a little Google search and ran across this one. Thought maybe this would be a simple start for us. And I look at this and all I see is some extrude features and maybe a rib to make the gusset. Now, given we like working in inches, but this is what I stumbled across, and obviously it's in millimeters. So we could approach this from a couple different ways. Um, you could start with extruding a simple L shape, and extruding a looks like 5 millimeter thick thin extrude, and then do some cutting away. Um, or you could start with laying out the base portion of it, and this part down here, extruding that plate, if you will. And then I would, then if you did that, I would probably click on the back side there and extrude this upright portion. And then again, still putting a rib there. So again, several ways of tackling it. Um, I think we'll go with plan B, if that's okay with everybody. Um, I'm gonna shift this guy over to my other screen so I can use my SolidWorks screen. Give me just a sec here. So if I slide that over and we start a new part. All right. And we noticed that this was a metric part. So I'm going to change my units from IPS to MMGS. All right. And again, looking at this, I think I'll just start on the top plane and create this base plate shape. If you really like breaking it down into features, you could even create just a simple rectangle and then put that other cut in as an actual cut. That'll be just fine. Now that one is drawn hand sketch-ish, and has the coordinate system in the corner. Don't think that's necessary. We really like our centered rectangles in SolidWorks, so we'll just go with that. All right, so looking at the outside dimensions, I see 30, I see 20, and I see 5 thick. So 30 by 20, and I extrude that 5 millimeters thick. Blind, no reason for a mid-plane there. I click done. Okay. Next, I'll want to go ahead and finish up this base. So I'm going to put that extruded cut on that back corner. Looks like it is 5 wide and 7.5 millimeters off the front edge. So we'll do a corner style, making it 5 wide. And from the front edge, no reason for us to have to do any special math. Everything's given. 7.5 millimeters from the front edge. And we are going to cut, even though blind would do the job, our design intent is that we'd like that for to be cut off. So we're going to say through all just so no matter what we do with the thickness, it'll always be there, cut off completely. Okay, so there is our base. Next, we will add this upright plate to the back side. Now we could draw right here on the top surface and extrude a rectangle up and then cut this off, or maybe even just put a very long chamfer there. Or we can click on the back side, back behind here, and we can draw the profile and extrude that. Again, there's always multiple ways of doing it. So if we want to stick to this extremely simple sketch idea that we were already working with here, maybe I'll go with plan A this time and just extrude that plate. So if I click on this surface and say, look, I want to extrude a corner rectangle back here, breaking this down into lots of features, and looks like they're pretty consistently staying with 5 millimeters thick. So I'll just stick with that. And okay. And it does say that says, because it's talking to me, right? It says that it was 40 millimeters from the bottom. Okay. So if that's the design intent, we can use a tool, or we can just do some simple math and just say that's 35 tall. Let's stick to simple this time. 35 millimeters tall. All right. Could get a better mouse, couldn't I? All right, so 35 millimeters tall. And let's see, the way they've given us the dimensions here, again, it didn't really give us the chamfer dimension. It gave us the dimension off that side. So we might just do a cut. So to get rid of this edge, or make that cut, we'll click on this surface and draw the diagonal. All right, so clicking the surface, extruded cut. We will start on the corner, avoiding the midpoint because I don't want it to lock in on that coincident on the midpoint. I do want this corner, and closing my sketch. All right, and then from this edge over here, they're saying they want 15 millimeters. Okay. All right, so complete that sketch. It rotates it again through all. That's just fine. Okay. So now if I can compare. All right. Last thing is this gusset. This gusset is a mechanical term, right? Gusset. This gusset is it centered? No, it is not centered. Okay. So it is 10 millimeters off of that face over there. Now we can create a gusset, and usually when we create a plane to create a gusset, we usually center it. This time, because the way they've given us the dimensions, we're not going to. But we do need a plane out here that satisfies this need. Or, let's see, how did we make this? We centered our first boss extrude, didn't we? So looky there. Is that gonna work? Well, you know what? Let's keep it simple and we'll make our own plane. That way it doesn't matter if you started with a mid plane or a centered rectangle or not. It'll still work. So let's just create ourselves a plane based off of that surface 10 millimeters over, but we need it over here. So let's flip the offset. Okay, so 10 millimeters in, there's our plane. Now we're going to create a rib on that plane by selecting the plane and selecting the rib tool. Now, nice thing about a rib tool is the only thing you need to define is a single line. It must start on the inside edges. Okay, so inside edge to inside edge. Okay, now going back and looking here, It goes all the way out to the front edge. All right, so I'll move this point, and it goes 25 millimeters high. All right, so we'll bring that out to the front edge, and we will smart dimension. Let's see if this was right. Yes, 25 millimeters up. All right, single defined line. Hopefully you've noticed as we've gone along, I have fully defined every sketch. Single defined line, and we click OK. For a rib, remember this needs to point towards the material so it can fill in. We want it to be 5 millimeters wide, and if you remember, that dimension was to the side of the rib. So we need to put all our material beyond the plane because we put our plane in at 10 millimeters. So, okay, my first guess was correct. So there it is. Let's see if it embarrasses me. No, okay, great. All right, we're done with the plane, so it's a good idea that once you're done using a plane, just go ahead and hide it. All right, and let's see what does isometric look like for us. So if I hit my space bar, I click isometric. Well, that's the opposite of this isometric, but we can make it look the same. Oh, I am embarrassing myself. You like that? How about something like, let's give a front view again. That looks about right. That's just some arrow keys, and that looks pretty good. Okay, so summarizing this part, we looked at this and we said we had a couple options. We could have done an L shape, extrude, and then cut away, or we could have extruded our base, then our upright or back plate, and of course cutting away this cut, and rib. So this is a very basic part. We were able to make that fairly quickly. We'll talk about some more parts, some more combinations of features as we move forward. But hopefully that helps you a little bit today. All right. Well, if you have any questions, comments, other than the fact that I am not very good at talking on a recording, I already know that one. So if you have anything else to say, to request, let me know, and we'll see what we can do to help you out. Otherwise, hope you have a great day.